By the time she realized who he really was, the Korean CEO had already destroyed his future for her. Rain doesn't fall over Busan tonight. It lunges. Headlights smear across the harbor road as a black sedan coughs to a halt. The rear door opens before the driver can circle with an umbrella. A man steps out into the downpour, suit drinking water, jaw set, phone pressed to his ear as if steel can ignore weather. A bus thunders by and throws a sheet of dirty spray in his face. He blinks hard, temper flashing, and keeps walking. Then she moves, small, soaked, steady, cutting through the rain with an umbrella she shouldn't be giving away. She holds it out without ceremony. Their hands touch for the length of a breath. Her knuckles are red from the cold. Her eyes don't flinch. "Keep it," she says, voice warm as Lego sun under monsoon sky. "You need it more than me." "You'll be drenched," he answers, perfectly even. "I'm already drenched." For the first time all day, Chairman Han Jae-woo forgets the call hissing in his ear and the board demanding numbers he does not intend to give. He takes the umbrella. The driver finally arrives with a spare, late by a minute and by a moment. The woman's already jogging toward a flickering bus shelter, shoes slapping water, shoulders squared against the storm. He watches the umbrella above him. Then he watches her disappear in the blur of neon and rain. "Sir, we're late," the driver says. Han gets in the car, phone lowered, eyes still on the road where she ran. "Pull every camera on Pier 7 from 6 to 7 p.m., he says. "For an umbrella?" the driver asks, confused. "For the only person tonight who moved without calculation." The storm scrapes the city clean by morning. On the hill near Yongdusan Park, Amara Nwosu balances a pastry tray on one palm, a tote strap in her teeth, and a stack of hand-marked design prints under her arm. Night shift at the bakery, day shift dreaming of safer streets, scholarship covering 2/3 of grad school, the third paid with sleep. She ties a last box with twine, exhales, and runs. Her phone vibrates at the crosswalk. Unknown sole number. "This is Amara." "HR from Hanul Group," a smooth voice says. "Your internship application is under review. Are you available for a same-day interview, 2 p.m., headquarters?" Amara stops dead. She's heard nothing for months. "Yes," she says too fast, then steadies. "Yes. I'll be there." Elevators whisper like secrets at Hanul's glass tower. Amara smooths a thrift store blazer, tells herself design speaks louder than fabric tags, and rides to 34. She answers measured questions, defends a curb redesign with confidence she borrows from muscle memory, and tries not to see how the third interviewer never looks up from his phone. She steps into the corridor and the air changes, like the building took a breath. A man approaches with gravity that rearranges distance. Chairman Han sees her first. No umbrella. Dry hair pulled back. Same eyes. Something sharp and unwelcome loosens in his chest before he reclaims control. She recognizes him a beat later. Black sedan, rain like nails, his face under her umbrella. Her heart stumbles. He stops. "You left without an umbrella," he says. "You looked like you needed it," she answers before her brain chooses something safe. A corner of his mouth considers smiling and declines. "Your field." "Urban design," she says. "Public resilience. How to make a sidewalk keep a promise in bad weather." "We're rebuilding Gwangalli's waterfront," he says. "Come upstairs." "Sir," the receptionist murmurs, as if the sentence violates a rule written on glass. He does not repeat himself. She follows. A boardroom opens like a command. Glass walls. Winter sun. On the far screen, night vision footage of Pier 7. Rain hammers. A small figure steps into frame and lifts an umbrella toward a man. "Is that me?" Amara asks, startled. "That is your decision," Han says. "We build districts on models. I trust people more who decide fast in storms." "I didn't decide fast," she says, half laughing. "I decided obvious. That's rare in this building." Stilettos click in without knocking. Park Eun-ji, VP Corporate Affairs. Eyeliner precise as a scalpel. Chairman, the press. She sees Amara, the paused frame of the umbrella on the screen, and adjusts her smile by a single millimeter. "We're busy," she says to Amara, velvet over glass. "She's with me," Han replies. Eun-ji clocks everything, files it, and steps aside. Han slides a folder across the table. 3-month contract. Gwangali team. Prove your portfolio right and we'll extend. Amara stares, palms on the table to stop them from floating. "Thank you," she manages. "You earned it last night," he says. "By being who you are when no one is watching." When the door closes behind her, the quiet is not empty. On the other side, Eun-ji doesn't move. "The board is already whispering," she says without drama. "They always whisper," Han says, eyes on the exact frame where the umbrella passes from her to him. "It's how they hear themselves." Outside, Amara fumbles for air and finds it full of Busan noise. 3 months. A team. A door she didn't know would open this week. She records a breathless voice note for her sister in Lagos that's mostly laughter stitched to disbelief, then checks the time and sprints to the project floor. The waterfront war room smells like coffee, graphite, and urgency. Tide simulations crawl on a wall of screens. Blueprints stack like layered currents. The lead engineer, sharp, tired, nods at her portfolio. "You're the Lagos lens," he says, half teasing. "I'm the person who hates ankle-deep water at crosswalks," she answers, and earns her first smile. She works. She notices a drain that sits 5 centimeters too high for an old woman with bad knees. She notes how the wind whips at the new bus shelter from exactly one direction. She redraws a curb cut. The team watches, first out of politeness, then because she's right. What she doesn't see is the chairman on the mezzanine, hands in pockets, watching a mind move in clean lines, not for him and therefore magnetic. Near midnight, when the floor thins to screensavers, she finds something on her desk. Her umbrella. Clean. A bent rib repaired. A slip of paper in precise handwriting. Return isn't enough when a gift changes the weather. Her smile is small, private, treacherous. Across the glass, Han is in his office, jacket off, sleeves rolled, 3 monitors playing chess. He doesn't look up. He knows exactly where she is. The mayor's office calls a public forum for Friday. Cameras, community, and a rumor that Hanul plans to edge out the market women. Han opens with figures and mitigation language, the room absorbing it like rain on sealed concrete. A man in a wet jacket shouts, "You don't live here!" Before the room fractures, Amara stands. "I don't either," she says, voice steady. "But I've lived where water doesn't ask permission. Tell me which stalls flood first. Tell me which steps your grandmother can't climb. We'll redraw those first." The hall turns. She listens more than she talks. She sketches while an old couple argues about handrails. She asks the fishermen how the tide steals their mornings. The temperature in the room drops from anger to attention. Cameras find Han's face at the exact moment control becomes a platform, not a prison. He nods once. 2 weeks, he says. We redesign with what we just learned. Back at headquarters, the board hisses words like precedent and cost liability. Someone says, girl, like a disqualifier. Han lets them spend their outrage and then ends the meeting with a sentence that sounds like a knife wrapped in cloth. The city forgives cost. It does not forgive contempt. In the elevator afterward, it's just him and Amara. Neon breathes through the glass. You shouldn't have had to do that, he says quietly. I didn't have to, she answers. We needed it. His gaze lingers 1 beat too long. You're good at this. I'm still learning. He wants to say, you make me want to learn again. He doesn't. The doors slide open a floor early. Min Park, rival heir, grin lacquered, steps in as if cameras always follow him. Chairman Han, he purrs, eyes sliding to Amara. And? Lead consultant, Han says. We're late. Your PR woman is complaining you replaced optics with sincerity, Min says, amused. Careful. The market hates sentiment. The market hates ignorance more, Han replies, pressing close with surgical calm. That night, Busan burns neon and oil on wet streets. Amara walks home, 3 blocks that feel shorter than usual. At her door, she pauses, looks up at the bruise-colored sky, and lets the rain remnants cool her face. Her phone pings, a calendar invite, redesign sprint, 7 a.m. It's from the chairman's office, with a single note beneath. Thank you for telling the truth in a room that prefers math. She types, deletes, types again, and settles on, I work better when people actually need the sidewalk. See you at 7. He doesn't reply. He doesn't need to. If you feel that pull already, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell. What happened next is where loyalty, rumor, and power collide. Morning breaks like a verdict. Headlines flicker across screens before the coffee finishes brewing, and by the time Amara steps into the tower, the rumor has already learned how to walk. She feels it first, eyes sliding away, whispers cut short, a hush that follows her shoes across the marble. On the project floor, the war room hums but doesn't look at her. She drops her bag, opens her tablet, and builds a dam inside her chest. Han arrives 10 minutes late, coat still smelling faintly of rain even though the sky is clear. He scans the room once, sees the ripple, and stops. What happened? He asks no one in particular. A junior analyst swallows. There's something online, sir. Eun-ji doesn't wait to be invited. She places her phone on the table and turns it so the headline faces him. Chairman's new muse? Hanul consultant spotted after hours. A grainy photo, him and Amara crossing the lobby at midnight, distance distorted by a cheap lens. Han's jaw tightens. He doesn't look at Amara. He looks at the room. Back to work, he says, calm as glass. Now. People scatter, relieved to be told what to do. When the last chair scrapes away, Han turns to Amara. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, she says, though her pulse argues. It is, he replies. Power attracts lenses. Eun-ji folds her arms. We need optics. A statement. Boundaries. Not yet, Han says. We respond with work. At noon, the mayor's office calls again. Another forum, this one televised. Opposition has organized. Vendors are afraid. Fishermen are angry. Han looks at Amara. Will you speak? She nods once. If you'll listen. The community center smells like wet coats and old paint. Cameras line the back wall. The opposition speaks first. Cost overruns, displacement, broken promises from companies that leave when the ribbon is cut. The room warms toward anger. Amara stands without waiting for permission. I'm not here to sell you anything, she says. I'm here to ask questions you should have been asked first. She asks the market women where water pools after storms. She asks the fishermen which mornings the tide steals. She asks an elderly man how high a step becomes a wall. She listens, sketches, repeats their words back to them until the room hears itself. When she finishes, she looks at Han. If we ignore this, we deserve the flood. He steps forward. 2 weeks, he says into the cameras. Redesign with the community. Public review. Applause breaks like a window opening. Back at headquarters, the board detonates. Words fly. Precedent. Liability. Softness. Someone says, this is what happens when sentiment runs projects. Han waits them out. The city forgives cost, he says evenly. It does not forgive contempt. He adjourns the meeting and leaves them staring at their own reflections. In the elevator down, it's just him and Amara. The doors hum shut. You shouldn't have had to do that, he says quietly. I didn't have to, she answers. We needed it. He studies the floor numbers like they might rearrange themselves. You're good at this. I'm still learning. The elevator stops early. The doors open to Min Park. Smile polished, eyes bored. Chairman Han, he says. His gaze flicks to Amara, lingers a fraction too long. And? Lead consultant, Han replies. We're late. Min chuckles. Careful. The market hates sentiment. The market hates ignorance more, Han says, pressing close with surgical calm. That night, the redesigned sprint burns the floor past midnight. Amara redraws drainage, flips shelter angles, lowers steps by centimeters that will matter to someone. Han watches from the mezzanine, unseen, until the work becomes a language he doesn't want to interrupt. At 11:40, she finds her umbrella on her desk. Cleaned, repaired. A note: return isn't enough when a gift changes the weather. Her smile is small and dangerous. The next morning, security stops her at the gate. System issue, the guard says, apologetic. Your badge isn't scanning. She waits while others pass. 10 minutes. 20. A heat creeps up her neck. Han appears in the lobby and sees her standing there with her portfolio like a shield. He takes the badge, swipes it. Access denied. He turns to the guard. Manual log. Now. Then call IT. Then call Eun-ji. He holds the door for Amara. The lobby watches. I'm sorry, he says as they walk. You don't owe me. I do, he cuts in. I run the weather here. On her desk, an email sits open. Misforwarded. Eun-ji to 2 directors. She's becoming a symbol. If the chairman keeps elevating her, the press will smell romance. We can't afford that with the day-in agreement pending. Amara closes the laptop. Breath tight. Romance. Agreements. She keeps working. At lunch, she steps outside into winter light and finds Han by the trees. He looks tired. You disappeared, she says. Family, he answers, like it's a weather pattern. They walk to a street stand and eat fish cake skewers like ordinary people. They talk about rain in Lagos versus Busan, sisters who refuse to be careful, cities that remember pain in concrete. At the tower again, he stops. I made a choice, he says. She waits. I'm not going to marry for the company. That will be expensive, she says softly. I've paid for cheaper things that cost me more. Before she can answer, her phone vibrates. Unknown number. A link. She taps it, and the world tilts. Grainy footage of her entering Han's car. Another of them walking at midnight. A third edited to look like a kiss that never happened. Text beneath. Choose a side. Or we'll choose for you. M. Her stomach goes cold. She records the screen, forwards it to Han with one line. You should see this. He calls immediately. I'm coming. No, she says, voice steady by force. You're going to the police. Then legal. Then PR. We don't let this breathe. Silence. Then, you're right. And, she adds, the fear finally cracking her voice. I'm scared. I know, he says. Me too. If you're still here, like this now, this is the point where the lie fights back, and everything they built is put on the line. Morning breaks with sirens and silence. The extortion doesn't leak all at once. It creeps. Finance blogs hint at impropriety. A gossip site posts a still frame sharpened just enough to lie. By the time Amara reaches the tower, the rumor has learned her name. On the project floor, someone has printed the headline and taped it inside a cabinet like a warning sign. She peels it down, folds it once, and puts it in her bag. Work first. Always. Han arrives to a building that feels heavier. Eun-ji is already waiting in his office, phone buzzing like a trapped insect. Legal filed the report last night, she says. Police confirmed digital manipulation. But Min Park is accelerating the narrative. Then we accelerate the truth, Han replies. Truth is slower, she says. And the board is panicking. They panic every time they can't control the weather. At 10, the board convenes. Half the room wants blood, distance, statements, firings. One director says Amara's name like it's a liability code. Han doesn't raise his voice. She stays, he says. She works. We release the redesign today. Full transparency. Community review. And if the rumor sticks, another asks. Then we build around it, Han answers. The vote fractures. No resolution. Only postponement, the most dangerous outcome. By noon, the redesign goes live. Amara narrates it herself. No polish, no drama. She talks about steps and drains and shade. Market women share it from their stalls. Fishermen comment with tied emojis and thanks. The rumor doesn't die. It starves. At 3, Han's father calls from Seoul. The voice on the line is colder than it should be. You will attend family dinner Sunday, he says. You will announce your engagement to Daein Group's daughter. This is not a request. Silence stretches. I won't, Han says. You are a son, his father replies. And a chairman when I am gone. The call ends. The old rope tightens around Han's throat, the one made of duty and deals signed before he could read them. He stands at the window and watches the harbor breathe. He thinks of a woman who stepped into a storm without calculating the cost. Sunday night in Seoul is theater with expensive lighting. Executives and cousins arrange themselves like chess pieces. Yuna of Daein Group sits across from Han, kind, tired, resigned. She deserves a love that isn't a merger. When his father raises a glass and says, "We are pleased to announce," Han stands. "I won't," he says gently. The room freezes. "I won't marry for your balance sheet." Gasps. Phones slide from pockets. His father's eyes harden. Sit down. Han doesn't. I'm not a bargaining chip. The fallout is immediate. Calls, messages, market tremors. Han leaves the house without looking back. In Busan, Amara works through the weekend on site. On Monday morning, she finds her access card waiting with a note. Apologies for the inconvenience last week. IT. She pockets it, the sting finally dissolving. At lunch, she steps onto the waterfront alone. Winter light schemes the water. The new steps, her steps, hold firm. She lets herself breathe. Amara. Han stands a few paces back, coat undone, eyes tired but clear. You disappeared, she says. Family, he answers. Then, after a beat, I chose. She waits. I refused the engagement. That will cost you, she says softly. I know. Wind moves between buildings. Somewhere a siren starts and gives up. She studies his face, the calm of a man who has decided where to stand even if it hurts. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number again. A new message. A video link. She opens it, and the ground drops. Footage of her entering Han's car. Another of them walking at midnight. A third cut to look like a kiss that never happened. Edited cleaner. Sharper. Text beneath. Last chance. Walk away, or we release everything. M. Her breath goes thin. She records the screen, forwards it to Han. One line. He's escalating. Han doesn't hesitate. Police. Now. Then legal. Then PR. And me? She asks, fear finally cracking through. You stay visible, he says. We don't let him frame the story. She nods, even as her hands shake. That night, as the city hums unaware, Min Park schedules his move. And somewhere between the harbor lights and the boardroom clocks, the storm decides it isn't finished yet. Night sharpens before it breaks. Police move first. Quiet cars. Quiet warrants. By dawn, a shell office linked to Min Park is sealed, servers boxed, editors staring at their own reflections in black screens. Legal drafts move like chess pieces across Han's desk, but the board wants spectacle. They want distance. They want a sacrifice. Eun-ji doesn't blink. We end this in daylight, she says. Truth, timestamps, and witnesses. And we put her in the room. Not as a shield, Han says. As a blade, Eun-ji replies. At 11, Hanul streams live from a small press room with ugly carpet and too many cables. Han speaks first. Measured, precise. He names the fabricated clips. He names the extortion. He names the police report number. He steps back. Amara steps forward. Her pulse thunders, but her spine doesn't bend. I design sidewalks, she says. I lower steps so knees forgive. I angle shelters so wind loses. I am not a rumor. I am not a bargaining chip in a war between men who inherit more than they build. She lifts the umbrella, the same one. Cameras lean in. This is what started it, she continues. I gave it away because a stranger looked colder than I was. That's the whole story. Decide if that threatens anyone's market value. Silence. Then the room exhales. Clips spread faster than lies ever did. Market women repost with pride. Fishermen comment with thanks. The narrative flips like a tide. By evening, confirmation lands. Min Park is under formal investigation for digital manipulation and attempted coercion. His statement is a paragraph of nothing. The board meets at 7. Half want Han gone. Half feel the ground shift and hesitate. The vote stalls. Postponed. Conditional. Afraid. Han leaves the room without asking permission. At 10:30, Amara walks the waterfront alone. The new steps hold. Water breathes against stone. She stands where storms test promises and waits for nothing. Footsteps. Han stops beside her, coat open to the wind. I should have asked before finding you, he says. You didn't, she replies, almost smiling. But you found me the first night too. They don't touch. The city listens. I don't know how to do this, he says. Any of it. You don't have to, she answers. Just stop calculating what it should look like before it exists. He nods, something heavy settling into place. I can give my word. My time. My respect. Then give that, she says. And walk me home in storms. Deal. Eunji appears with flushed cheeks and a phone in her hand. Raid confirmed, she says. They found the editing suite. He's finished. Han doesn't smile at the fall of an enemy. He smiles at the removal of a lie. A week later, the waterfront opens. Ribbons cut. Thermoses clink. Umbrellas bloom bright along the steps like a field of promises. Amara speaks briefly and forgets half her words because the moment matters more. Han waits at the bottom of the steps, not the top. Walk, he asks. Always, she says. They trace the sea wall as the city lights up behind them. He tells her he refused the merger. She tells him she accepted the permanent role, with one condition. Community review stays a gate, not a courtesy. Done, he says. At the wall's end, wind lifts her hair. He offers a key card on a leather loop. This isn't to my office, he says. It's to my schedule. Change any meeting that keeps me from being human first. She laughs. Incredulous. You're asking me to manage your time? I'm asking you to manage my weather. She slips the loop over her wrist. I accept partial responsibility for sunshine. He looks at her without armor. Amara, I can't promise no storms. Only that I'll be there for all of them. Then let it rain, she says. They turn back toward the city, umbrellas opening one by one below them, a promise no board can vote down. Before you go, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. And tell me in the comments, would you have given him your umbrella?